Everyone, you know the saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Well, this video is a perfect example of that. Someone in the neighborhood was throwing away an old 1946 radio cabinet, and I happened to be driving by. I saw it, and they had left it out by the side of the road for, anyone that may want to find a use for it. I, of course, was happy to find a use for such a thing. So what you're going to see is what I'm going to do is I'm going to build what I call a zombie radio. Now, what is a zombie radio? Well, it's a term I came up with back in the 90s in my first home, which was a Victorian built in the 1860s. And I furnished it with older things, as one is wanting to do with an 170-year-old house now. And old fans, old radios, things like that. But I wanted a music player I could rely on. I had rebuilt several tube radios, and they're fine, but there was a reason why they were radio and television mechanics back then, because they don't last very long without repairs. So I built my first zombie radio, and this was before music players, before iPods or tablets or anything. So I actually built it with a portable CD player. So it was a little bit more obvious than what you can do today. But a zombie radio essentially looks just like an old-fashioned radio. The difference is that none of the original mechanicals or electronics are there. So this thing is no longer in the radio. The dial lights up, but it's not from the old light bulbs and the old tuner. That's all gone. The speakers are usually something I find on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or somehow used, and I just incorporate them in there with some type of amplifier, sometimes hidden, sometimes not. And so you have what looks to be an old radio, 70-year-old radio, but it plays modern. You can even Bluetooth into them. And it's just a fantastic item to have in your house. It's a lot of fun. Everybody that sees these things just marvels by them. And they're not hard to build. There's no wiring. You don't have to be cutting, splicing wires. There's no electricals. There's no fire hazard or anything like that. You use a power strip, power supply, or a power strip, a power amp, speakers, and some lights, and you're all set. So, if you want to tackle a project like this, watch this video. I think you're going to like it. And don't be intimidated. Just go out and get busy. Hey, everyone. Today, I've got one of those left by the side of the road finds that I just know I can turn into a great project. So let's see what I've got. It's pretty heavy. So. Alright, so let's look at this thing. So this appears to be hi Nacho. Nacho's got to see what it is. This appears to be a late 1940s. See that dial. Very Art Deco, but not quite 1930s. So I'm going to say it's a late 40s Bendix. Now, although that all looks complete, it's got all the knobs, which is great. This thing has been bastardized. This is not the original turntable. Although it looks like somebody did put some effort into wiring it in. It actually says Bradford Princess on it. So the grill cloth is in pretty good shape. A couple tears, but not enough to replace it. It's got a bad missing piece right there that probably I can disguise just by coloring it that color. But what am I going to do with it? Well, it's a little bit beyond salvation to get the original electronics working. Although it would be nice. It's actually, I'm looking at it now, it's actually AM and shortwave. There's not much on AM worth listening to. But if the shortwave worked, that would be something. But anyway, it's a great find. That's what I think anyway. So let's go to my box of junk and let's see what we can do. Let's get busy. All right, let's take a look at this guy. I didn't have much chance to look at it before I loaded it up. It is a Bendix model 736B. There's a dial light. This is probably a tube location, so it's missing one tube. The wiring is really a jumbled mess, I guess because they wired that other turntable in there. It does appear to have a power cord, and I know. And I would normally plug it in, but as we can see from the diagram, it is missing that 6V6 tube, so that's not going to work anyway. I guess it's a crime, but let's see. I got an idea of what to do with it, and I think it's going to be pretty cool. But while we're at it, let's see. Oh, look at plant A. January 29th, 1947. Well, that's pretty close. I said late 40s, but I got something. Let's see. Collector's Guide to Antique Radios, 4th edition. Yeah, I got a lot of weird books like that. When was this published? 1987. All right. It's alphabetical order. Shouldn't be too hard to find. Brunswick. Bosworth. Okay, we gotta get close. Bendix. What did we say it was? All right, 736B. $736B. There it is, 1946. Okay, so this says it was a 1946. Yeah, that's it. It's got a phonograph, a lift top, broadcast band, and 2 shortwave bands. It's in 1987 valued at $60 to $75. So this says it's a 1946, which would be immediately post-war, but looks like they were still making them in January 1947. All right, so that's the history of it. Let's see what we can do. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that big speaker out. I'm going to save it. I'm not going to just throw it away. Okay, so interestingly enough, I'm not going to take the speaker out of this piece. I'm going to take this whole piece out, and it's kind of funny. It's all ancient flathead screws, which I got a screwdriver that's too big. Now, I'm going to cut these speaker wires. Now, don't get me wrong, I hate actually doing this. If this thing could be saved, if it had all the parts, I'd be more inclined to save it. But it's not. It's a little too far gone, what with the oddball turntable, the missing tubes, and kind of crazy wiring. But that being said, it can still be a functional piece of art.
and it can still serve its original purpose, albeit a far more modern way of doing it. These screws, it's kind of funny. You know these are original screws, not only because they're flathead, but look at how sharp that edge is when you go to take these things out. Very different. Alright, let's see if the grill cloth is going to come out with it, I would guess. It does. Interesting. Alright, so that's my first hiccup. I'll tell you why. Look at this. So, this is interesting. So this grill cloth is actually glued to this board. Somewhat uncommon, which means it's not going to come off here by any stretch. So I may have to come up with something alternate on the grill cloth and then adhere it to this outer edge. First roadblock. That's all right. It's a minor delay. I took some of the weight, a few pounds out. Probably still a good speaker. These speakers were a little different though. They had to be powered. You couldn't just wire them up, or else I'd be reusing it. Now let's see what else can come out. Turntable can come out for sure. Let's do that next. Well, there were just two connections, so the turntable was not wired in right anyway. This, I'm guessing this is 70s or 60s. Look at the underside. It's got a needle, right? Oh, it's still got a needle. Yeah, there's no way that thing was gonna work. All right, I feel less guilty now. There's no way that thing was gonna work. Oh, look at that, it's got the little needle cleaner. Cool. All right. Could take out all that dead wiring now, but this is what I'm curious about. See how that's gonna come out. And then if I can light up this dial. Now I could light up the dial simply by getting a little bulb, running some power to it, and putting it where this one goes. But I'd rather do it with something maybe USB powered. Let's see. Not quite sure how this comes out, but there's a few screws. Take them out and see what happens. All this stuff would now just have little plugs on it. This stuff's all wired. All right, let me clip that. I'm gonna try to take the amp out. Usually the dial will come down with it, but I'm not 100% sure. Let me see what I have. Let me see what happens. All right, I gotta be quick. My phone is overheating. I got the chassis out. Now, how cool is this? So it looks like this is the back of the radio dial. All right, so it looks like I'm not gonna have any trouble lighting this thing up because the glass stays in. So you can light that up. I could actually put anything behind that. The knobs can go back in place and it'll light up just like a regular radio. Geez, this is gonna be great. This is really gonna be a great project. All right, so unfortunately, that's about all I can do at the moment because my phone's overheating. I won't be able to show you much more. But I got most of the weight out of it anyway. It's easy to move around now. So I will be back. Okay, so I've got it all apart and I've kind of know what I'm up against now. And so what I'm gonna do is it's Saturday, I'm gonna take a break till next weekend and see if I can gather all the parts I'm gonna need to put it together and get it working. So here's what we got. So I'm gonna need a wood shelf here. I need a power strip or power supply for it. I'm gonna need to buy some grill cloth, unfortunately. I'm gonna need to make a frame for that. I'm gonna need to make a shelf under here. And I'm gonna need some lights and a backing, but I can probably just use an Amazon box for the cardboard backing if I don't have a 1/4-inch plywood. But anyway, that's it. So I'm gonna put everything away, think about it for a few days, and see what I can find on Marketplace and kind of take care of that. And we'll be back. It's gonna be a fun project. Take care. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I figured this out today. I'm gonna reuse this piece with the cardboard. Looks like it's got nails holding it in the cardboard. But I'm gonna reuse this plywood. So I'm gonna take the speaker out and I'm gonna cut a wider hole so that whatever speakers I put in there are not just pushing behind this, because the speakers won't be mounted to this. So I'm just gonna take this thing off and maybe take the cardboard off as well. Okay. Not being covered by that cardboard since 1946. So now we gotta cut. I make some cuts to open this up so more sound can come through, and we'll have our speaker grill piece, reusing what's already there. Nacho, always helping out. Here we're going to look at what we can actually use from the chassis. Now I want to keep, this is the back of the dial, which I assume will clean up well. But this is really the only piece I need of here. I'm not sure how much of this will come with it when I try to take it off. That tuner part, maybe. But let's see. Let's try it. It's just, looks like 4 screws. It's funny thinking I'm taking something apart that was actually built by hand by somebody in a factory in America back in 1947, 76 years ago. Crazy. Okay, so what's going to come with? I hate to do this. I've had so many of these old radios where the strings broke, and it pains me to actually have to break this string on the tuner. See the string wrapped around the tuner thing here? Okay, if you can see that. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah. So you get the, but this thing's, I gotta save that little piece there. That rides on the string, but it won't after I'm done with it. Something else holding it. It looks like this piece here is holding it. Yep, one more. Geez, I don't know how I missed that. It's right there in front of me. I wish I knew an old radio repair shop. I'd give the box to them. It's got some good tubes. I'm going to try to find somebody that'll want it. Just get this bulb socket here. That's the last thing. Okay, So we got this. Here's my tuner glass piece. Oh, handily. This has a little clip on it that I can probably use to clip onto this. Let's see how this cleans up. I'm curious. Curious actually what to even use on it. If it doesn't clean up well, I'll paint it. No harm, no foul if I paint it. Unfortunately, I don't know if I have a dark maroon paint. I have a matte red that would probably work. But let's see what to use to clean it. Let me get this thing out of the way. Let's start with just some foaming glass cleaner. Let's see what that does. Oh yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have to paint this. That looks good. In fact, I'm seeing there's marks on it. Must be for testing or calibrating it. Yeah, I think that's okay. I mean, it should be. It was under glass and sealed for a long time. See what happens when it comes back out of the... Cleaned up okay, but I think it's not going to look great. So let's see what else we can do. Go to my trusted Tech Wax. See what Tech Wax does. Hesitant to do this because it'll make it difficult to paint. I'll have to get this wax off of it. But on the other hand, I'm optimistic. It doesn't need to be particularly shiny, it just needs to not look filthy. I know technically I'm using this glass, this wax, as a cleaner, so let's see how effective it is at that. Give that a couple minutes. While that dries, let's look at this thing. I suppose there's really no relevance to which side this thing sits on. Whichever side will be allowed to clip on. There is a lip. So here's what we're trying to do. So see this piece here? I want to get it on here. I got a lip here. I don't have a lip here, but I don't know if I have enough room. But maybe. I mean, it's bowed out right there. It just can clip on anyway. It doesn't really matter. Before I do that, though, let's clean it. It's dirty. If I flatten out this edge here, see how if I flatten this edge out, I should be able to clip it on a lot easier. So, let's see. First, let's just see if I can just clip that stuff off. I know these two little pins I should be able to clip off pretty easy. Yeah, that was easy. Let me clip off this other guy. Well, one of these. Okay, I just got this one here.
I got the two little ones up. I just got this tab right there. All I gotta do is, I just gotta be careful of this plastic piece, because that piece feels very fragile. It is 76-year-old plastic after all. Alright, that is mostly flat. So we should be able to just take that. Easy peasy. Clip it. There we go. We now got our radio dial. How cool is that? So I think I can even use these guys to bolt it up. Let's take that wax off and see what we got for finish. Oh, interesting. So, see that? Some of the paint's actually coming off. I mean, I used a very mild wax. So, I'm surprised. But then not surprised. I mean, it's 70 years old. Oh, I know why that paint's coming off. It's chipping because I clipped this thing here. So I'll just clip that thing right back where it was. Just pinch these down. There you go. So this radio dial will be mounted under the glass piece. I just got to figure out what I'm going to do to light it. But I'm getting there. I've almost got that figured out too. All right, I've got the radio loaded up. I'm going to go to Tyron's to work on it. And why am I doing that? Because it is unseasonably hot today. It is 92 degrees, and I know it's Florida and all, but for March, I'm just not used to it yet. So I'm going to go over to his air-conditioned workshop and we'll cut some pieces there. Okay, I've got it in Ty's workshop. He's coming over any second now, and we'll get started on this.
What's going on back here? I saw you pull up there.
Yep.
What you got now?
I got a 1946 radio cabinet we're gonna rebuild.
Do I look like a bloody electronic person and a magician and all that bollocks?
Well, yeah, there's nothing in it, but we're gonna fill it.
There's nothing in there, not even a turntable.
Yeah, the parts we're gonna use are in my truck.
Everything's missing, no speakers.
Nope.
We've got all this bloody chip over here.
Yeah, that chip is a problem.
Well, it looks like it's a bit of woodwork to be done.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do, there's two things we're gonna have to do. We gotta make, this is where the old phonograph was. So we need just to cut a piece over here to fill that. And then, sorry, let me explain what we're gonna do.
Okay.
So,
What's the end game here?
The end
Let's
game
go
is,
from the end to the beginning.
I know you've heard me use the term zombie radio before.
Okay. Yes,
And you've seen it,
And
you've
I've
seen it at my house.
Yes,
That's what we're gonna do with this. We're gonna do a little bit more elaborate one than what I've done before. So we're going to, I've taken all the electronics.
He wasn't a bad carpenter. He was pretty good.
All right, let's cut a shelf.
Yeah.
Lower shelf. So we're not going to bolt it down. So when you move this thing, we need to be able to just take the speakers out.
Okay.
So you don't need to make the board so wide that it's impossible to just slide it out. It only has to be as wide. Nice.
Better than a bunch of
This
pieces.
is better than what I would have done, that's for sure. Well, we can mount the speakers to this. Let's lay the speakers in. Let me put this on a tripod. Let's lay the speakers in, mark out where they're gonna go. Because I was thinking, you got any rubber, like gasket material here? I've got some.
I do. Well, no, it's foam for walking on. It's very soft and
Yep. Well, we just wanna put something down to minimize vibration. Let's say we'll just leave it there for a moment.
so you want me to cover that whole, you want me to cover that whole thing with the
You can, I mean, might as
if you take the shelf out, I'll just mimic the shelf
Yeah.
as big as this is. So
Now, these speakers did sound good in my garage. So, disclaimer, if they don't sound good in the box, it's not my fault. We're actually gonna
I'm not going to go there on that, but I probably should touch that because you know what I mean.
we don't do that.
I should have bought this for my desk the other day, so. Perfecto. Look at that.
Like it was made for it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So, what I'm thinking, we take advantage of this piece right here,
okay.
and we're gonna mount it right like that. So when we cut the back, we'll cut a little slot in the back for the cord to run out, and for somebody to just flick the power on. I'd mount it here, but these sides are just 1/4 inch. They're not strong enough. And there's, well, you know, now that I think about it, if we took this out,
You think it's ergonomically, because does that stay on permanently, or do you have to turn that on and off? Is that the on and off switch? That
this will be the on and off switch.
you don't think you want it somewhere in here so you can?
Well, for the amp, there
because
will
even
be.
I'm thinking if it was me, I want to put it. I'd like to open it up and even turn a knob or hit a switch. I know it's a little
I'd
elaborate.
like to do lots of stuff like that, but I did look into the idea of getting a turn switch and wiring it into 120. But the reason why I don't want to do that is because, all right, now you get into exposed wiring.
Yeah.
And for some guy that just wants to do this project at home, I'm trying to make it like, just mount a power strip in there, plug everything into that, and you're completely safe. You got a surge protector for your iPad and everything.
It's on that, right? On that.
Yes, this has a surge protector in it. It's got USB to power the lights, so it's one switch. The question is, do we want to put it, I think we need to put
I
it,
would put it here as high as we can.
well,
There.
this is already here to mount to. This isn't. We can't mount to this stuff here. It's too thin.
Yeah.
We got this piece here, which
This
is
is a
good,
good
but
idea.
that's what I'm thinking. So we just need a drill and 4 screws.
This is also repurposed pieces here too. I try not to throw anything away because when you got a buddy named Matt, you never know what can happen, dude. So, one day you think you can go have a few beers, and you got to stop and go do some
Stop
work.
and do some crazy project.
Yeah.
This is a good size, right?
I think that should be good for the back.
It's not quite wide enough, but we don't need to cover the.
I have two of them, which we can do the laminate if need be. But yeah,
That's wide enough. That's it. That's good.
there's a flare up at the bottom, but that's this here.
It's all right. Nobody's gonna see this piece. As long as it's not passing the edge of the radio.
You want me to nail
over.
this on now, or you gonna do? Do you want to do that later when you've got everything done?
No, it's fine. I'll do it later.
Okay.
You've taken up enough of your time here. Because all this stuff just has come apart. So I'll do this tomorrow. Just 6 screws. That's not going to take
Yeah,
time.
you must use screws so they can take it off, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so
All right.
this
So I got a lot of wire.
pretty much fits. We can mark it out, but we're gonna have to run wires. So the speaker wires are gonna have to come through here,
Okay.
under here, and this and that. So we kinda actually gotta figure out how you wanna do that. It's got 3 different slots.
Well, let's just put a series
Yeah,
of
it's
holes.
very tight, how it's gonna fit in there.
You want it exactly where you know, right? Slant in the corner. Is that what you're looking at?
That is too far.
Okay. Well, that's almost
You
biting
want-
on the money.
You wanna be in a bit. Yeah, because we really want to hide this. We don't
Absolutely.
want people to see a big hole cut in the wood.
Absolutely.
That's why I was thinking we just drill a hole, and then we have this. We know where this is, and then we just put 2 big holes for this stuff. And we, rather than jigsaw this piece out, we just put holes where we need it.
All right, so okay, we can work that out.
So yeah, if you want the antenna hole, it's pretty much right there.
Looking right there.
Let's see, totally straight. Yeah, we're totally straight. Let me see.
Yeah. Shit.
Let's drill that one first.
Where the hell did I put my fastener bits now? About happy. Okay, this one. Vacuum in there. How you think those holes are gonna work, Matthew?
Hold on, it's tight. I think we did well. Let's see how good we did. No way. Perfect. Oh, look at that.
In the trade, we say that needs.
I mean, that fits so tight, you almost don't even need to screw this thing in.
I know.
All right, you wanted to hear it.
If you wanted to use this as a jukebox, now you could just lay it flat. I mean, that's the thing. Is it necessary to have?
If you playing shuffle music all the time,
So I wanted to kind of have it up at an angle like that.
hold up. Yeah, we just need to put 2 angles coming down.
And it can even be sideways too, right?
That's bloody close right there, man.
It is very close. We can either do it like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's do it like that. And just cut it a little shorter.
Oh, that's actually very nice.
Yeah.
All right. So, the best I can do right now is that.
That's fine.
This is very old, very warped.
The trick will be figuring out what angle.
Oh, the angles. That's the angles the easy part. So, what's that bad? Okay, widen a little bit more.
Is it though? Move it back a little bit?
Just a little bit.
It's good. That's good. Yeah, that's good.
I'm going to cut this down to size then.
Yep.
You sure you don't want a small sneak?
Yeah.
Size. Just a little bit of stain and that'll be nice.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, that's it for Tyron.
What's up?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We got about 2 hours in. We
About
got
2
the whole thing done?
hours. 2 hours and ready for a beer
No. I'm going home.
until the next time, until the next surprise, which will
Yeah, there's more stuff coming.
we have a few projects coming up. So.
Yep, we'll film those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it back home. I'm gonna do the wiring, the lights, tie everything down, and then I'll let you come over and listen to it every now and then.
Yeah, now and then, couple beers.
All right, well,
Gotta
thank
work
you.
hard to play hard.
Okay, this is a 1941 Philco floor model that I had turned into a zombie many years ago. This one, I actually mounted Jensen 6x9 car speakers like from the 80s in it. And it's so funny, it actually kind of sounds like an old car radio. For the dial, I put flashing lights. I want it to look kind of like a jukebox. So anyway, you can make these out of all sorts of old radio cabinets. This one is actually, I think, is very pretty.
Hey everyone, I'm going to cut the video here and do a two-part series because this is all obviously going to be over 40 minutes at this point, and I don't want to skip any parts. I want to really show you how it's done, and we're at a good point now where most of the woodwork is done. It needs to be kind of assembled, and little detail work needs to be done to get it to look great, and that'll be covered in part 2, which, as I said, will be up in a couple of days. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for part 2, and please like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I've always got more projects coming, and you know, if you want to take on a project like this, watch part 2, and then don't be intimidated. Just go out, get busy. Take care.